Hello, wonderful fifth graders. Today I'm going to tell you what you need to think about before you can start recording your TED Talk. I'm so excited to see all of your hard work that you've put in class pay off to this final video product. Your TED Talk can be as simple or as elaborate as you want. It can take 5 minutes to make, it can take a whole week to make. It's completely up to you and your family. Do I expect perfection? No. But I do expect effort, so I want to see that you put some effort into this. Now I'm going to go through your production checklist that I sent home with you. These are a bunch of different things to think about when you're making any video, not just a TED Talk. So let's start at the top. The first one is think about your speech. So have you practiced it enough? When you get to recording part, it should be absolutely flawless. You should be able to give the speech. You should practice it multiple times, dress rehearsal, all that. So recording is just the final step. Notes. How do you want to remind yourself of your speech? For example, as I'm making this video, I have my notes sitting right here on my computer underneath the camera, so I can glance at them and then look back up at the camera and keep talking. Maybe you want to have a big cue card behind the camera. Maybe you want to hold your speech. If you want to hold your whole actual speech, that is fine. Just be careful that you do not get tricked into starting to read your speech like this, because then you're staring at the paper and not at the camera, and then your paper goes higher and higher, and then all of a sudden you can't see you anymore. So make sure that you are familiar enough with your speech that you can glance at it and keep talking. That's part of our PV legs we talked about. The next thing you want to think about is your visuals. In my classroom, if I wanted to, I could have some sort of PowerPoint or Google Slides or pictures on the projector behind me as I'm talking. If you want to get really fancy, they even make little clickers that you can push the button and go to the next slide while you're talking. If you don't have access to that, you probably have access to a computer. So if you wanted, you could sit yourself down right next to your computer and have your PowerPoint right there behind you as well. Or you can do pictures, or you can do old school poster, or you don't have to have any visuals at all. It's totally up to you. Keep in mind, your visuals should add to your talk. They should not overtake your talk. So your whole talk should not be on slides, and you shouldn't be staring at it as you're giving your presentation. But if it adds a graph or a picture or something that's going to help your talk, then that is perfectly fine. The next question is, what am I going to wear? Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is not that important, but if you make the wrong choice, it can really take away from your speech. For example, I love this shirt, but it's kind of distracting because instead of listening to what I'm saying, you're probably reading the words on my shirt. There are some outfit choices you can make to help your talk. For example, mine is about books. So this shirt actually has all of the words to The Secret Garden on it. So that is something about books on my talk about books, so it goes together. Or I also have this scarf. It's got lines from J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan on it. Can you tell I really love books? When in doubt, go formal or dressy, or you can always wear your uniform. Next is think about your set. What's going on around you? The round red rug is a TED classic. If you have one, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. You might not even be able to see your feet the way you position your video. I have some cheap ones on Amazon or at Target. Totally up to you. In your Google Classroom, you should have a folder that has several of the TED logos. So if you want to print some of those off and have those behind you, that's pretty typical as well. And of course, be very mindful of what's behind you, especially if it can be distracting. For example, you might not have been listening because there is a space shuttle taking off above my head. So this would not be a place I'd want to give my TED Talk. I highly recommend getting together with some of your friends. You could divvy up the responsibilities. You can buy the red rug, you can buy the microphone, you can print the TED signs, you can build a set and then all share it. Think about the lighting. Are there awkward shadows? Are you squinting in the sun? Probably not your best place to stand. Backlighting is also not helpful. It might look pretty with the big glare, but no one's actually going to be paying attention to what you're saying. Be very mindful of background noise. It's really hard to hear what's going on if there's a TV in the background or siblings or people talking or even a clock ticking too loud. A microphone can help cut down on background noise dramatically. This lapel mic right here I got on Amazon for about $12. Really not a bad deal. Let me show you what I mean. So at a little bit of a distance, here's what I sound like with a microphone. And here's what I sound like without a microphone. So it's just a little bit of a difference, and it's totally up to you if you want to get a mic or not. Think about the recording. This is the step where you need to be really, really nice to anyone who is helping you. This is not going home and demanding that your parents buy you a camera and a TED rug and a microphone and all this stuff. No, 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 no. We are asking very nicely if our parents will let us borrow their phone and maybe help us one afternoon to record our talk. And be very, very thankful, please. I highly recommend a tripod or a stack of books or something stable, because this kind of selfie aspect is not the best way to record a professional looking talk. Please, 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 when you are recording on a phone, do not let your phone go this way. It's very tempting to hold it this way because you get the whole person in, but it will look terrible on the video. You always, always, always have to hold it sideways. Sideways, sideways. And lastly, think about the editing. Now, if you want, you can do this whole thing in one take, stand up there, give your speech, record it, and you're done. If you'd rather, you can do it in multiple takes or do a little bit here and a little bit there and then put it into software like iMovie to edit it. There's tons of tutorials on the internet and usually in the programs like iMovie themselves to show you how to use that. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of my TED Talk. Are you ready? The Library of Congress contains 16 million books. It's the largest library in the world. And yet, every single one of those books is comprised entirely of the same 26 letters. Let that sink in for a second. 26 tiny letters that, when arranged in different combinations, create adventures, stories, whole universes, and emotions out of nothing. To me, that sounds like magic. My name is Ms. Cutshall, and I believe that books are magic. And so many people in our country are missing out on it because they've simply decided, oh, I'm not a reader.